Hello everyone, we are live now guys. So good morning,
Hello.
good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone.
Good morrow.
Good morrow indeed. So other than task changing locations today, we are talking about Arabasta this week here. So we're going to go through our tier list as we have been doing last week, but we're going to focus purely on the Arabasta Arc because it is a long arc, and just walk through it and talk through it all the way through.
So much happens.
Exactly, so much happens here in this arc, and spoiler alert, it is brilliant for me. So
Spoiler alert. Arabasta's
So
massive,
and
and
these two can remember, and I can remember little.
we're over this way on screen, by the way. You're pointing at your bookcase, not us. So there we go. That works. So yeah.
yeah, fantastic. I need a bookcase.
So do I. But
It has no books on it.
no, it's all DVDs and manga and anime, which is a good combination. So where do we want to? Well, obviously we're going to start at the beginning. Who wants to start with the Arabasta Arc?
Well, the first talking point is actually when you first get the first get to the Grand Line, don't they? Because that's essentially where it starts with
Yeah.
Laboon.
Yeah.
Because that's when you first meet who we now later know as Vivi. Then was Miss Wednesday and Mr. Nine.
Yeah, and the whole of the Baroque works, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, to be honest with you, what I love about that entire arc, like that part of the arc, is Zoro just taking on everyone. Like everyone letting the guard, everyone taking the guard down, everyone just kind of like being chill, and then Zoro's just like, okay, yeah, we can see these are all assassins all trying to get us. I'm going to sort something. I'm going to do something about it.
He uses them as a test for his new swords as well.
Exactly.
What he just got in Logtown, which I love. Yeah, because he got, what was it, Ubarashi and Sandai Katetsu?
Yeah.
Were the ones he got in Logtown, I think. He already had his Wado Ichimonji. And then he got those two.
Absolutely. And, you know, like I said, it's just a big, basically power flex, to be honest with you, more than anything else. Yeah. And the fact that obviously there's a part where Zoro and Zoro goes against Luffy a bit there as well, with the whole the misunderstanding. It just makes things just boom straight off the bat. Just start off.
Do you know what I loved about that bit as well when Zoro and Luffy went against each other? The fact that the two agents that had been sent to take care of everything, they basically just got whacked by Luffy and Zoro, and just like, no, you're not even part of this fight, and just like
get away.
Exactly.
Like swatting a fly.
Exactly. It does give me like it does do a nice callback in that with Foxy's arc. I know we all know what we're gonna say with that, but Foxy's arc with the giant and everything, where it's just Sanji and Zoro just fighting each other. Same as, it's just the collateral damage they do just gets rid of everything. And, you know, that is a good start to the arc, and it still keeps that amazing comedy that they keep all the way through. And, you know, it's straight off the bat, you know, something's going down. And then figuring out who Vivi is, find out what's happened, and going from there, I think is a good start.
Whiskey Peak was just, there was a lot happened in such a short space of time. You first meet Robin, who was then Miss All Sunday, I think she was she?
All Sunday, yeah. It is All Sunday.
Mate. I was right on that. Yeah, and you meet the Unluckies for the first time as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because they draw the pictures of the crew, don't they?
Yeah.
Aye.
And, you know, when you get into it as well, you get a lot of detail happening straight away. So obviously we know a little about Devil Fruit's powers at this point, and other than we've got Paramecian and Zotans, now we're meeting the trifecta, which is the Logia, and it's Smoker, someone from the military, coming to just beat the crap out of Luffy, essentially, and take him.
And we know Luffy can do nothing against him.
Exactly. And I've said it before, when obviously that fight goes down and then Ace stands in the way, you'd think Ace would be the bigger priority target. But I think in some senses, right, that Smoker knew he had no chance against him. And
I don't think it's that, personally, more than anything. I understand what you're saying, but Smoker was out to catch Luffy. That's
Yeah.
what he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
He said from the get-go, he's like, I'm going to get him. They were like, oh, you'll get in trouble. He's like, I don't care. I'm
Mhm.
going to get him.
mm-hmm. And it is a fun arc, and like just as when you first meet him and he just goes into the bar and he just kind of rockets straight into the bar as well. Luffy just rockets straight into the bar, into the crew, like into Ace and that. And it's just like, the fuck's just happened? Like, do you think you see all of that scene
Yeah,
happening?
because it's even when Smoker comes back and Luffy's just sat eating like that, looking at Smoker,
Mhm.
and then he realises who he is and just goes like,
Oh, and just runs from that point. But and then you find out obviously a bit more about Sea Prism items, because I don't think it's actually been mentioned, or we haven't physically seen Sea Prism items used much.
Logtown.
Mhm.
Smoker mentioned it on his jit.
Yeah.
I think that's how you pronounce his weapon.
Yeah, but I mean prior to Smoker, I mean, like you don't really see any much.
Smoker was the first time of mention of it.
Yeah.
They mentioned there obviously was the weakness with the sea, and,
Mhm.
and you go in the water in your ghost.
Yeah, and it does
But,
it does give it like a massive shout out. But there is, like I said, so much happening there, like especially with not only you having one big powerhouse being Ace, and you've seen like Ace's brother and everyone's celebrating having that massive laugh. But later on you meet Dragon, who's Luffy's father. We don't know much about him. And we talked about before, like him doing a devil fruit and using that storm in the last episode. And we're talking about that. And, you know, it is a massive, like kind of flex just seeing like all these big, powerful people.
yeah.
Let's be honest, big, powerful people supporting Luffy. And Luffy's just sat there with a big goofy grin on his face like, hi!
I actually have a little theory about Dragon, but I'll share that at a later date.
Alright, okay.
I'm just saying it now because if I verbalise it, I'll remember it more.
Mm-hmm.
So if I say, I've got a theory to talk about now,
Mhm.
I'll remember when we get to
the
a
end.
point when I feel
Please, anyone
appropriate to talk about it.
who like reminds him that he does forget about it, pop in the comments on the YouTube and just give us a reminder, because you know Tass will probably forget and I'll forget, to be fair.
I will forget.
Oh.
Like honestly, I say I talk about it because it's
Mhm.
easy to remember, but as soon as I hang up,
Mhm.
like I'm gonna forget.
And you're gonna be like, oh, and you're gonna message us and be like, put the stream back up. 30-second stream.
But I'll tell you guys before when we go off
Mhm.
live. I'll explain what I think and see what you guys think, and then we can discuss it more on another podcast. But Arabasta, before I start rambling too much.
Yeah.
It's also just going back to Dragon. It's a very interesting. Like he's got such an interesting intro, because you think like, oh, it's Luffy's father,
Mhm.
and you think, well, Luffy's such a happy-go-lucky, like he's a really happy chappy, and you just think like, oh, what's his father going to be like? And he's
Mhm.
such a dark,
serious.
sinister character.
Yeah, and it's just a
Yeah,
massive
like,
flex
holy
difference.
crap,
Especially when you see the way Garp is.
Mhm.
yes,
And it seems like they get like serious Luffy, and it's just like you get serious, super serious Luffy, and you're like, oh, he's got all the fun for these two guys here.
yeah. I took all the fun. I drawed all the fun away, all for myself.
But yeah, I find that absolutely interesting as well, just all the way through. But going on it then, just straight off the bat, like meeting Smoker, meeting something that Luffy knows he can't beat, and find out about Logias at this stage is a big impact in the story, because it's not the only person we meet as a Logia all the way through this arc. And you know, just generally devil fruits, there is everyone in the crew at this point gets properly matched up with someone.
That was what made Arabasta for me so special, because it was like, oh, you can't fight Logias except this one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was the only Logia he could conceivably be at that time.
That we know of, and like there is other times in, like, obviously when we go to it, where you just get that's where the faces start, in my opinion, where it's just like the straight off the bat face of Enel and, you know, Luffy and you know, just the amazing ones, and that you see all these amazing faces that you get that are all pretty much mean now, let's be honest. And boiling it down,
like that's SpongeBob meme.
yes,
Where
yeah,
SpongeBob's doing that face.
yeah.
That's an L's face.
It is literally an L's
I
face.
didn't know that. Like, it legit is an L's face on SpongeBob's face. It's great.
I tell you a good callback I like on this, because we never really talked about it when we talked about Chopper, but Chopper's arc, right? When we're in the desert and they're talking about, like, all the way through Chopper's arc, saying, "Can I just take your phone?" He's like, "Oh shit, and you can't take it off all the way through." They bring that back for the desert arc, and they're like, "Oh, it's so hot, I can't take it." So, well, just take off your phone. Yeah, that's a good idea. Oh, God, I can't take it off. And it's just that absolute brilliant. Chopper's brilliant for it all. But it is absolutely one of those amazing kind of scenarios that you see all the way through. And it's a good callback, and it's one of the things that I think everyone loves about One Piece is just all of the callbacks, all of the in-jokes that have been sent throughout the year, just coming back.
Yeah, that's it. Like, Arabasta is technically, like, well, not technically, it is like the fourth island, the hit in the Grand Line.
Yeah.
But it's that full arc, full story arc culminates from literally starting in the Grand Line, Whiskey Peaks, Little Garden, Drum, Arabasta. Like, it's 4 islands to tell the story, and it's just amazing. And
it's going all the way through them. I'll tell you what the interesting thing is, that we do see this arc, in my opinion, is the arc that puts all of the crew on point. Because, like I said, we see fights all the way through, but we don't normally see like the entire crew fight. Let's be honest. At this point,
you see, everybody has a battle.
Everyone has a battle.
Either a 1-on-1 or a 2-on-2. Yeah.
And I think this is one of the arcs that kind of gave me, same as the Fishman arc being I'm a mind blank here. Thinking now, why am I forgetting Arlong's arc? I can't believe I forgot. Yeah, Arlong's arc. Well, I showed a lot of respect to Usopp in it, because let's be honest here, Usopp manned up in both of those arcs. Like, Usopp showed that he could fight in Arlong's arc with fear and using his own fighting style. Like, it is his own fighting style, in my opinion.
And his lies start coming true as well.
Exactly, his lies start coming true. And then the next time we see him fight in this arc, he just has to put his foot down. And it's a very respectable fight, and his quote when he's like, when he's beaten and battered, and he stands back up and talks about Luffy and says all of his lines about it, is just brilliant. That entire fighting.
Yeah, because they presume Luffy for dead, don't they?
Exactly. And Luffy's just sat there like he just gets back up and he goes, "Yeah, nah, that's not happening. You can take the piss out of me all you want. As soon as you touch my captain, all hell's breaking out now, guys."
That's it, yeah. That's exactly it.
And, it's very, very respectable all the way through. Going back, continuing on, though.
Yeah, so let's go back to Whiskey Peaks, because that's when, obviously, you learn about Baroque Works, and you learn, but you still don't know it's Baroque Works till the very end of Whiskey Peaks.
Yeah.
Because it's just seen as a den of... Well, no, you do. You find out because Zoro says it, doesn't he, when he comes out?
And
he mentions it to them, but it's... You meet the first real power players, if you will, of Baroque Works, because you meet Mr. Five and Miss Valentine.
Which are quite...
Yeah, they get pretty much brushed under the carpet by Luffy and Zoro.
I'll tell you what's an interesting fight, like an interesting character in all of it, and one that you love for always, is number 2 and number 3. Just Mr. 2, Mr. 3.
Yeah.
Especially like later down the arcs as well. Brilliant.
I wonder this is what I always wonder, what happened to Miss Golden Week?
Miss Golden Week? I don't know.
Yeah, Mr. 3's partner, the painter one. Colours Trap.
It's interesting because I actually don't know what happens.
You see, like at the end, Karoo chases her.
That might be something Gordon might refer back to, because we were talking about it.
Literally the end of it. You see Karoo chase her and she runs off, and then we know obviously 3 got captured because he ended up in Impel Down and escaped with Luffy and that later.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'd be interesting, like, because I was saying this because, like, we were talking about all of the numbers and all of the characters. We don't meet technically all of the characters. Some of them got killed off, which is fair, or beaten, like, stopped. But some of them are still remained unknown. So
Yeah,
we would,
just
like I said,
disappeared.
before we talk, like start the
Don't
stream.
really know what happened with Mr. Four and Miss Merry Christmas.
Exactly. So before we even start the stream, I put a theory out there, which I'll just mention now briefly, is that because Crocodile's now free, is there a point that we might see him in the new world with his crew again, or with his numbers? Because that would be, without a doubt, interesting. Whether ally, whether enemy.
We know for definitely you won't see 2 of the numbers with him.
Mm-hmm.
2 and 3 won't be.
Yeah.
Well, not be there.
Yeah.
But we also know for definite that Mr. 1 is.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting to find out.
To me, it would stand to reason to say that all of the numbers got captured by the Marines and put in Impel down. Because Mr. 2 was there, but we saw him get arrested when he helped the Straw Hats escape. Mr. 3 was there. We don't know how he got captured, we just know he did. And Mr. 1 was there also.
Yeah. But
in prison. So it would reason to say all of Baroque Works got captured.
But is it that all
from Miss Golden Week?
But is it safe to say that they definitely got captured, or is it safe to say that they could have just laid low?
I wouldn't say definitely, but I would say reasonably so.
But you got to realise there's a chance that they could have escaped as well or got out, and that would have been interesting.
There'll have been a coordinated effort, I think, between the Marines and Vivi, because she had information on all of them, so she'll have been able to say, this is who they are, and this is how many of them there are.
But yeah, it is one of those things that is actually quite a brilliant thing. And honestly, I don't think we're going to see the end of Crocodile at all. I think there'll be some
I think we'll see Crocodile again.
Because
100% think so.
Because I think, like I said, there is a good chance that a lot of them will come back, or there'll be a good chance that we're definitely going to see. Hi, Roger. I've just seen Roger there.
Hello. Hey,
what up,
Roger.
Pooch? Gold Roger.
Goldie Roger, right there. Can I just ask there, Anis?
Weekly cameo.
Does Kim actually know that you've named him Goldie Roger or not? Because we know.
I did mention it last week.
Oh, because how would she react to that? Because like she's not a massive One Piece fan herself or anime fan generally.
She has no idea.
She's like, yeah, I like the name Roger. We'll go with it. And then you're like,
okay.
Intel winning.
Roger was the name that he came with.
Oh, that's even better.
Because he's a rescue. We did go to change it, but we couldn't decide on a name, so we just went, screw it, we'll keep it as Roger. And then obviously Goldie Roger
just makes sense.
Fantastic.
Aye, it is brilliant.
Absolutely gold. See?
But
Pirate Dog.
Going back on then to the next part, because we've gone through Whiskey Peak and we've talked about it, because we're coming on the 20-minute mark and we've got 4 islands to run through and then the tier list, so we'll try and section it out there, because we're trying to keep it all down to an hour long for you guys, especially when you're checking it on YouTube and other, catching back up on it.
The mediums, if you will.
Aye. So going to the next island then. Who wants to? Chas, do you want to go off on this one straight away and talk about it? Because
I guess so. Yeah, no problem. Little Garden.
Little Garden.
You'll have to forgive me. Like, my memory is terrible, so I'm literally going. Little Garden.
yeah. Again, it's another.
It is a massive
island where a lot happens.
Yes.
Like
Dory and Brogy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Dory and Brogy, the big.
Yeah, the 2 giants.
The big giants, yeah.
Which Luffy kind of talks about. I say not Luffy. Usopp talks about, and kind of straight away gets them all to kind of.
Oh, I want to go to Elbaf.
Exactly.
Sorry, I just need to read out this little snippet that I've just seen. This arc is left out for the 4Kids dub because of unavoidable violence.
Yeah, amazing.
Screw you, 4Kids.
Yeah, absolutely. I cannot see Kaiba's voice coming out of Zoro's mouth.
Without him just saying.
Can't be doing with it.
Screw you, Joey Wheeler.
Yeah. So Little Garden again. A lot happens. You see a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Dinosaurs.
Absolutely.
Honestly, there's something about Gajis. Men, we see dinosaurs and we just instantly go.
It's
I approve.
We just love dinosaurs.
It's just
There's
like
that funny moment where Zoro's got, like, the Triceratops comes to Zoro, and Zoro's like, a fellow Santorio user. It's a fucking dinosaur, dude.
Oh, it is brilliant. Obviously, in this arc, we get obviously the giants in there. We do also get Mr. 5 we meet as well, and Mr. 3 at this point as well,
Yeah,
which is
Mr.
a really
3, Miss Golden Week.
Miss Golden Week as well. You know, it is brilliant just to see these fights, because it does build up to what we're going to see next and what we're going to go see later on in the fight. And you know, it's just that kind of like I don't think this arc really massively kind of goes into what we're going to see next, because when you look at it as a reverse, you can see it's just slowly building up, and it's just inclining up, in my opinion, like going straight through.
One thing though is people have said, and I'm still undecided on whether it is or not. I think I'm more leaning into yes, that it's the first little tinge of haki you see from Luffy on Little Garden. It's when Mr. 3's got all of the wax clones of himself, and he says, "A man like you just fights on instinct.
Yeah, can never hit you.
Beat me like that." And he kicks him straight in the face, and he's like, "How did you know?" And he just says, "Instinct."
It's brilliant. Yeah, it is.
Like, to me, I think that is the first sign of haki.
Yeah.
But obviously, we don't know that.
I mean,
haki exists.
Yeah.
In the universe at this time, or obviously Luffy doesn't know about it, because he doesn't learn about it until Rayleigh tells him
before the time skip. But it is really interesting seeing that. But at the same time, you just think, well, Luffy's fighting instincts. I mean, if someone's talking over there saying things to me, I'm just going to throw a punch over there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You would.
Because he talks too much.
But that's it. It's also, there's another pair that we've missed out that appear on Little Garden.
13
the
on
last
Friday.
time you see them as well. Yeah, Mr. 13 and Miss Friday, the Unluckies.
Yeah.
It's the origin of Mr. Prince.
Yes, Mr. Prince coming in, as in like Sanji's alter ego here, and
he finds Mr. 3's little cubby cabin.
Yeah, and what I really like about this as well. Oh, we'll wait for Anis. But just going on what we're saying, what I really like about this is just the nice subtle prints in there. For people who are up to watch Whole Cake.
Yeah.
Like it,
a lovely little nod,
and it is, and it's the same with Kuma.
Honestly, mate, I didn't connect that bit as well until I rewatched it.
Yeah, well,
after watching where we're up to, and I rewatched it, then I was like, oh, that's just so much foreshadowing.
It is, and like even when you have Bartholomew Kuma, when he sat there and he's saying there, I may not be anything now, but in the future, you'll remember my name. And he goes on that line, and then just before with Sanji trying to sacrifice himself for Luffy, and you're like,
yeah, and then
damn,
mentioned.
Yeah, and it's just
obviously Sanji beats them two there, doesn't he?
And it's just
Miss Friday and Mr. 13, he beats the unlucky, trashes them, kicks one of them straight in the wall, and breaks the chicken's neck.
Exactly, and you're just they had no chance against it at that point. And, it's just straight away at that point, straight away, Usopp gets these two giants on the side and just get that straight off the bat, boom.
Yeah.
And decides that he's going to be brave and visit Elbaf. Obviously, that's going to be a thing. That's going to be, I think, is going to be another one of Usopp's lies. Or Usopp's
going to be the next place to visit after where they're up to now.
I do.
I guess that's what I'd say.
Absolutely. Just catching Anis back in. Just catching Anis back in, we were just talking about just being perfectly timed, like you said, just 13 and just completely getting trashed by Luffy, and Usopp talking about another thing that he says he wants a brave warrior. See, redefine that's his goal in life, and what I think is brilliant about that is Elbaf is going to be an island that we're going to visit soon in One Piece, and we both think it's going to be next arc.
I just want to quickly talk about the fact that on that arc, it does, for me, it actually brings in one of the first sort of scenes of peril, proper peril, when number 3 releases his candelabra, or where, I can't remember.
Yeah, I know the bit you mean, the giant birthday cake.
Giant birthday cake, that's it. And you've got Nami, you've got Zorro, and you've got Vivi all stood there. And then put the bit where Zorro just goes, well, if I'm gonna...
yeah, I forgot about that. Strike a pose at your last chance.
Oh, that is absolutely one of my favourite bits as well.
If I'm going to be a wax figure, I want to look cool.
Yeah, I want to look awesome for people to see.
Exactly. You're not just going to sit there and be like, just be like completely out of call.
Just gold.
Just
gold.
You know what? It is one of those like arcs where you're just kind of like looking at going, Mr. Prince has now come into it. There is that underground aspect, and what we were saying, Anis, you weren't here for that, is the verbal nod to Sanji's surname being called Mr. Prince. But not only that, not only Mr. Prince is that, we're saying like the verb, like the kind of foreshadowing goes so deep in this, because Kuma's saying, you know, he's not a very well known name now, but someday it's going to turn out to be a name that you won't forget. And you know, it is just one of those like kind of like, I don't know how far Oda's planned this through, but you can see now the seeds that he's planted.
Yeah, he has, because he said since day one that he knows what the ending of One Piece will be.
Exactly.
Yeah, he just
and
doesn't
even
know.
In recent interviews, he said it hasn't changed.
Yeah, and it's just all these like kind of like seeds that have been planted so long ago, just flowering like, and going back to, like I said, Usopp, just this bravery, his friendship, and all of this goes into it. I think like it's going to give him the kind of the power, like, you know, he keeps giving him that kind of thing that he keeps telling himself. All these lies that he's been manifesting are slowly coming back, what you were saying, Tass.
Yeah.
And it just poses like just what he's going to do.
Little Garden is one of them, isn't it, where he says the giant goldfish?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Because he mentions it, I've seen a giant goldfish whose poos were so big I thought they were an island.
Mm-hmm.
And then that is actually a thing Dory and Broggy say as they're leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Same. Aye.
Yeah, they say, oh yeah, we thought it was an island.
And it's just an island.
And another one, which is only a little subtle thing, is when he's fighting Miss Merry Christmas, because she's got the mole fruit, hasn't she?
Mm-hmm.
He says to Kaya at one point, oh, I heard there was a giant mole in the mansion.
Yeah.
And
That's
then
a little
obviously
bit.
he fights a giant mole.
Yeah. You know what? Like I said, that is, like I said, I'd never actually remembered that, to be honest with you. I connected the dots. But if I remember correctly, isn't there a point when Nami got sick in this arc from something, and then
she gets a bite off. So I think it's called Kestia.
Mm-hmm. Kestia there.
If you want, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I'm almost certain that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she gets that bite.
And
it shows at the end she gets the bite.
Exactly, and
obviously because after Little Garden, that's when they go to Drum.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's when it starts kicking off there. And in all honesty, like I said, just that is one of the things that kind of catches us, is like, it's one of those things where it catches you on the edge of the arcs and proves, like I said, Chopper's doing the right thing. Like, he's better off travelling the world than sitting in a snow castle trying to cure people.
It's also, Drum is the first mention of Blackbeard.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
When was Blackbeard mentioned in Drum? Because I can't remember that.
Blackbeard's the reason why Wapol left.
Yes.
Because Blackbeard attacked Drum.
Oh.
Bailed.
Yes, I remember it now.
There.
Yeah, that makes sense. I remember that.
Ace was also on Drum.
Mm-hmm.
Because they mention it at the end as they're leaving.
Mm-hmm. Because
like, oh, we didn't tell him that pirate came, and it was weird because it didn't snow that day either.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh god, that catches you. But
and that was it. Like,
even that though, that there proves that Ace is chasing Blackbeard at that point.
Yeah.
And it's not even been mentioned why Ace is chasing it, and he's already like seeding, going back to that, planting the seeds and planting everything down.
Yeah.
He's literally planning things out so amazingly at this point.
In depth.
Exactly.
So in depth.
Exactly.
Wapol's a little frump.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what word that is. Like, it might be not mean anything, but that's what I'm calling him. Hippo.
Yeah.
And
Nelly.
Yeah, he's a frump. That's my new nick. That's my new word. Like,
it's just like Frump is now his name
put
going
it
forward.
on the ranking list right at the bottom. Frump. And just put Wapple there. Wapple, man.
Drum is one of my it's one of my high up
arcs.
Yeah, because
I like Drum. Yeah,
it's got a good bit of emotion about there. It's that whole sort of thing of like Luffy's always shown like the fighting for his comrades like in previous arcs, but this is like sort of one where he comes in and goes, well, I'm going to fight for the right people.
Exactly.
Well. Yeah.
Like, it shows people that like, I am a pirate, but I am going to fight for what is right as well.
Exactly.
And it's essentially, apart from when he fights the Marines and the government, Luffy does the job of a Shichibukai.
Yes.
Which is ironic.
On evil pirates that are causing problems and beats them, and then they're like, "Oh, but boys, it's amazing." Like,
I mean, I'm pretty sure as well.
I don't even do the job of the Shichibukai.
You just, except for like Hawkeye just cutting up ships for fun because he's like, oh, just cut that ship up, just because I can.
I love when they said it. Or they probably woke him up.
Yeah. Well, that's just generally because that's in the way.
Yeah. I want to go that way.
I'm sure Drum Island as well, if you correct me if I'm wrong, is the first arc where we find out it's not Gold Roger, it's Gold D. Roger as well, because I'm sure the Doctor tells him it. And he says it's not Gold Roger.
That's right, yeah.
And he does go through and just says, no, I'm not Gold Roger. It's not Gold Roger. And he does that speech, isn't it? Is it like, am I thinking the right part where it's like, he says, what does the D stand for? And he says, all right, I'll tell you, and doesn't go through it much and explain it properly.
She says it at the end, doesn't she, when she's talking to Dalton?
Exactly. And
because she sees his bounty.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, my boys followed a dangerous man. And he's got D in his name as well. Like that Gold D. Roger. Yeah, and Dalton says, what, you mean Gold Roger, the Pirate King? She was like, yeah, he wasn't called Gold Roger.
Gold D. Roger, the government's trying to cover up the D.
Yeah, I think you're right with that, mate, yeah. Well spotted.
I was going to say, and it's funny, like you said, it's just like a whole scene of like Gold D. Roger, and you're like, no, it's not Gold Roger, it's Gold D. Well, what's the, like, you don't find out, but you then get the connection between that Luffy, as he punches D. Ace, comes in, and it just shows that kind of like that mentioning, obviously Blackbeard's coming into this arc, like we mentioned, Wapple's,
another D.
I know, Wapple's coming in, at the same time and everything else, you've got Chopper joining the crew at this point as well. Yeah. This is the point where Chopper's joined the crew. Let's go!
Yeah, shut up, let's go. That's his recruitment to Chopper.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And the thing is as well, he joins the crew as the Doctor. But that wasn't why Luffy invited him.
Because he was cute.
Because he's a reindeer that can transform and talk.
Yeah, because Nami goes, oh, this is Chopper, he's our Doctor. Luffy's like, oh, you're a Doctor, that's cool.
Yeah.
She was like, why did you invite him?
He's a
cool reindeer, 7-level transformation. Like,
exactly. I mean,
as if like, why not?
Exactly. So it doesn't matter about anything else. I mean, if you look at the rest of them, before you knew Brook was a swordsman, he was like, oh, you're a skeleton that can talk. I'm sure Luffy has it. I'm sure Luffy had. If Luffy had his way with his crew, he would have every single one of them with a unique quirk where they're not human but they can talk.
Yeah, well, he tried to recruit the trees on Thriller Bark, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He was like going back to
trees and trying to get them. Yeah,
going back to the zombies.
Stop getting random things. We don't need them.
Yeah,
I tell you what, I think one of my favourite points, I'm going to do this, is when you see the zombie coming out of the ground and you just sees it there, Luffy just go up and just go, you go back into the ground. And zombie apocalypse avoided.
Yeah, he just casually walks over. He's pushing back in.
Absolutely.
Which we will definitely bring back up.
It's like I think that's one of the best kind of moments is just you've just sat there going, I can stop the zombie apocalypse. Just get into the ground. Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah, Yeah, no, like I said once, like if there's going to be a zombie apocalypse, I'm going to go to the nearest graveyard as soon as I find out what's happening with a shovel and have the world's best game of whack-a-mole.
Yeah. Alright.
Right.
But yeah, Drum, as you say, is the first mention of the D in his name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you find out obviously about Goldie Roger.
Yeah.
You know Monkey D. Luffy. You know.
Find out slightly punches DS.
Blackbeard there as well. It was also a D.
Marshall D. Teach.
Yeah.
Anis, what were you going to say?
I was going to mention before about like obviously the end of the arc, like which we have touched upon there. It's also like that like obviously Chopper mentions about the cherry like wanting to see a cherry blossom, and then when the end of the arc happens, before Luffy goes, "Just join me," and it's just, but it's like boom, just like
sets all it up.
It's just in pure awe, just awestruck about the thing of it happening, and it's just sort of like. It would kind of be just that whole sort of thing of like if Luffy did that whole "just come and join me," and it's just like you just see
fireworks.
Like, yeah, but then Chopper just goes, "No," and then Luffy just grabs him and like drags him away.
Right.
But,
technically, Chopper hasn't agreed to join. Luffy's just kidnapped him.
Yeah.
That is technically.
Well, everybody. How many people said no first?
Yeah.
Zoro, Nami, Sanji.
Yeah, and then Luffy
Brooke.
sort of proved himself.
Brooke said I can't join yet because I need my shit. I think the only one who actively sought out to join was Robin.
Yeah, because even Frankie.
Join your crew.
No.
Yeah, because Frankie didn't.
Jinbei didn't decline the offer. He said he can't join right now. He said he would join the crew.
That's exactly the same as Brooke.
Yeah.
Brooke said yeah, but then said, "Oh, but I need to go get my shadow, so I can't join now."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So technically, Robin's the only person the crew actually willingly joins. Everyone's just been forced by Luffy. He's been like, "All right, you're joining my crew." Zoro's like, "Well, I've got no choice. Go get Usopp." He's like, "Well, you're strong. I've got no choice." Nami's like, "Well, I've got no choice now." And everyone's in this crew. It's going to be one day they realise that they're going to swap stories of how did you join the crew. Like, you didn't want to join the crew either. Bye.
Kidnapped us, didn't he? Like,
it's gonna be that moment when they get to the end of One Piece and then they swap stories of how they join the crew. I'm like, wait a minute, I've been following you because you've kind of forced me to join it, and me. I've been worried about all of you. Okay, the end. Everyone just splits up.
Yeah, that's great.
And then Luffy finds a new crew, and it's just like, yep, he ends up in Impel Town.
Right. So
yes.
Going back to Drum. We have a character that needs to go onto our list.
Okay.
Wapol.
Yes, we need to get Wapol on here.
Yeah, well remembered, Anis, because I honestly would have skipped over him.
Right, let me just pull out my keyboard because it's stuck. That's not a good sign. Right then.
Yeah.
Let's swap over to just our screen here. So, Wapol. We've got it up. Can you see it, guys?
I think I hate him, me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, honestly, I'd put him straight in civilian.
Yeah, I do not even rate his power. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's strong at all.
No.
The only thing he had going for him was the fact that he was a king, and that's why he had that's why he could get away with what he got away with.
Yeah.
He couldn't fight.
He couldn't fight. He couldn't do much. He was. I mean, it was smart, like his technology-wise, but obviously we need people who are smarter and use the technology a lot better. So I agree. Straight in civilian. Not the most.
I don't rate him at
all. He is above Alvida.
Alvida. Yeah. I'd give. Yeah.
I do agree with that.
I think.
For anyone who hasn't seen previous episodes, by the way, put him in rank, but we put him from left to right. Strongest being on the left, weaker on the right. They're coming through. And obviously this one up here in the Yonko is supposed to be Hawkeye, but the image.
Yeah, and also I did send you an image. What I think we should use, by the way, Sam.
Yes, I will sort that out and update that as well.
So, yeah, sort that out on another day. But yeah, also feel free to interject if you disagree with any rankings that we've got. The people who are watching or are listening or even live now.
Yeah.
If you think that something's wrong or you think somebody should be higher or somebody should be lower,
feel free to give us a shout.
Just and tell us what you think.
Exactly, or comment down below.
We might agree. But...
All we might completely skip over a point, and you guys might just turn around and go, "No, dude, you completely forgot this," and then
you missed this, and we could go like, "Oh shit, yeah."
And then what we'll do is, if you do mention that, like I said, when we come on to the next podcast, we'll go, "Right, guys, we had this comment. This is the person who mentioned it. Let's talk about it. This is what happened. Completely skip this point," and I think that makes a bit of an impact on the story, or impact on the situation. I mean, as you Chopper joined the crew, there's a lot of like small little seeds getting planted, and I'm sure a dragon gets mentioned in here, and the revolutionary gets mentioned as well.
It's the first
Slightly.
time the revolutionary army gets mentioned.
So at the same time, there is also seeds getting planted there, and them seeds there it does make a little bit of an impact for me, because he's just slowly adding more and more in, and it's just getting more and more details as we go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So we're on individual. We get these individual arcs,
Mm-hmm.
like the character, introducing characters and stuff like that. But it's so weird, like the underlying thing. Like me doing this, and remembering One Piece is just that realization of just how big and how much detail keeps on getting added, and you go, well, hang on, this was mentioned, which led to this, and then led to, oh my goodness gracious me, there is so much going on here.
Absolutely.
And it all ends up linked at some point.
Exactly.
Yes.
And
it's unbelievable the amount of planning that must go into it.
I mean, I'll tell you what two of my favourite moments are in this entire thing. So I'm just going to put my keyboard away. Sorry, my desk is broken. First and foremost, Chopper doing this to the door.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, I'm not going to hide behind the door. I'm just going to stand in the door. The door is right here. Yeah. The wall is right here. This is the door frame.
Do you want me to do an example of it?
You've got the
I've got the doorway there. Look.
Yeah. This is Chopper, and this is why we love him. That is one of my most favourite bits. Yeah. That is first and foremost one of my most favourite bits of the series, like that arc. And it turns into like the running gag as well, same as the coldness. He's like, oh, it's a little cold, can I take your jacket, which we mentioned earlier? And he's like, yeah, sure, take your fur off. I can't take it off. But my next favourite part, and I hope you all agree with this one, is when Luffy's holding the flag. He gets shot by him and he's still holding the flag there.
Yeah. I like that bit.
And he says that, if I'm paraphrasing, he's saying like people's dreams. He talks about his dream and people's dreams, saying that they can't be stopped by someone like you.
Yeah.
And he just proves the point that he respects Chopper as a person, as a reindeer, as what you want to call him. He respects his dream and shows that, yes, you do have a dream. Yes, you do have an option of what you want to do. And I agree, I support you. And not a lot of other people do that, especially to Chopper, and Chopper's not used to it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. He's always been alone, never accepted, and all of a sudden, all these people want to accept him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
excuse me, but one more thing I wanted to touch on while I just remember while we're on Drum. When Luffy climbs up the side of the mountain with Nami and Sanji.
Yeah.
Even though he's frozen.
Hey, Witsy, how you doing, buddy?
The first words he says is "Save my friends."
Yeah. Okay. And that is something that I love to recall too in Impel Down. He's on the verge of death. Yeah, no worries. I'll just mention that again, just while Anis is sorting that out, is the Impel Down. When he's on the verge of death, he has to save, a character that we'll mention later on. He asks to save him more than anyone else. How are you doing anyway, Waitsy?
Got somebody joining in.
We've got Waitsy dropping in the chat. We're talking about One Piece today. Doing a nice little podcast. We're doing a tier ranking system that we're continuing for probably a couple of sessions. Not too bad, buddy. Not too bad. Nice and chill this evening. Talking about I don't know if you've watched One Piece much, but we're going over the full of Arabasta, sorry. and just talking through that. At the moment, we're on to 3 out of 4 of the islands, and we're 45 minutes in, which is perfect because we're going to have the last 15 minutes.
We're just wrapping up Drum now, aren't we? So.
Yeah, and we're going to have the last 15-20 minutes to talk about Arabasta.
Arabasta.
We're going to be able to fit this in 15 minutes.
Aye.
We'll try.
We'll try. But, like I said, Arabasta, I'm going to leave it on the tier ranking system because we've got like nice little crocodile on the far left there ready to go through. Yes, Queenie, I will take a drink. Everyone, hydrate yourselves.
Oh, get up again.
Anis, what you playing at? Come on.
I know, so unprofessional. I apologise.
This is why we can't have nice things.
I mean, I have nice things.
I mean, this is why Wapol takes over a kingdom. People just don't have it.
Dennis hasn't got a drink.
Exactly. There we go. And he hasn't even drank it. He hasn't even drank it.
And this really makes me think I should buy some Bluetooth headphones.
So 2 things. This is why we can't have nice things, and this is why Wapol takes over a kingdom. And you know what? You haven't even took a drink, you know what I mean? You haven't even hydrated, bro. Letting us down. Yeah. Letting us down. Arabasta.
Good.
Arabasta, there's so much to talk about here. I'm going to go straight to the chase and say, what's people's favourite moment here straight away? We'll talk about that first. Because...
But in Arabasta, for me, the thing I always say is when they leave, as they're leaving, where they all put their arms up.
Mm-hmm.
That's in one of my favourite moments of One Piece, period.
Yeah.
Yes, it's such a high.
Yeah.
Just because I don't know if you've got the chat up as well, Tass. Queenie said, "Now I'm glad I did the hydrate."
I can see.
Alright.
To be fair, Queenie, I do thank you very much for that because I actually was quite thirsty.
I mean, that's why you redeem it.
It's weird watching this because I think the stream on
it's a delay.
The TV is a little bit delayed, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking, I'm thinking that's weird.
Exactly. Well, I could make it worse by going. Took you a while to realise.
Nice things.
This is why we can't have nice things.
This is why Wapol takes over a kingdom. That's going to be a new fucking meme. That's going to be the meme of the channel for the week. It's just going to be. It's be like.
Guys, we've got to time this right.
What?
All right.
We've got a freeway.
We've got to do it. Is it? It's all 3 of you.
Count us down, Sam, for the three person. I know what it is. Yeah, no, all right.
So 3, 2, 1.
Going on one.
Well, we were going to go on one. we'll go on, Roger. We'll go on one. All right. 3, 2, 1. I love how we both go this way and then Task goes this way on my screen. And I'm looking at this instead of...
I mean, I'm always going to go the opposite way, aren't I?
I know. Yeah, we've got Goldie Roger. Wait, he's agreed.
My dog's name is Roger. Not related to One Piece, but he's now been given the name of Goldie Roger.
Yeah.
So he is the Pirate King's dog.
He's our mascot for the show.
Yeah. He's the Pirate King's pet. He's there. He's your chopper.
He's the mascot of the show for it. Now we just need to make him a wanted poster. Can we take a picture of him and send him a wanted poster?
Problem.
For Queenie, it is really worth checking out. Anyone here will say that, it is a long period that you watch, but it's worth the watching. It's that adventure.
I say it every time somebody says it to me, they go, "Oh, it's a lot of episodes."
Mm-hmm.
And then when you catch up, you say, "Oh, there's not enough episodes." Every single time.
Exactly.
It's how I felt about it when I watched it. I thought, that's a lot to watch.
Exactly.
And then when I watched it, I'm like, I need more.
Yeah.
Right.
When's the next episode?
So let's get back onto Arabasta because we're going to run out a lot of time here for it. So, favourite moment you're saying is the crew doing that at the end. Anis, what's your favourite?
I mean, I have to agree. It's just such a big pinnacle moment in like the whole series. That whole sort of we will never leave a comrade behind.
Yeah.
We are still
powerful, isn't it?
I'm gonna. go with a different one from you two though, because
I was just gonna say, like, just bringing another one back because it, like, as I say, unfortunately, my knowledge isn't great, so I am having to look through. It's Luffy's defeat.
Yeah, I see that. Like I said, in Luffy twice.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I can't agree with that one, but my biggest one that I remember of this entire arc is Zoro's fight. And I always refer back to that fight because it has so much of an impact. Cutting steel, going through and learning Haki subconsciously and foreshadowing that. And then the foreshadow of having to cut diamonds, and then we get a Marineford. We see Hawkeye, and we see on the crew there is a guy who can make his body out of diamonds. That like kind of like foreshadowing that like Hawkeye's at this level now, like here Zoro's at this level, he's getting closer and closer to Hawkeye, and Hawkeye's now here with a guy made out of diamonds. Can he cut him? Can he do something? Yeah. And that to me is just brings in so much of an impact now further in the story.
It gets mentioned so much as well.
Exactly, it is.
Like, they say about Kairoseki, they say, oh, it's as hard as a diamond.
Yeah, Queenie, for yourself, though, not seeing anything about One Piece, there is a few things in the world as a pirate. There's one thing called devil fruits, and we're going to mention it a bit with Crocodile and a few others that they fight. Devil fruits give you a power and change your body, basically. There is ones that can change you into, like Ace will mention, like change yourself into a fire, so you become a living fire basically, and you can use fire attacks.
They're the Human Torch, but good.
You're pretty much Human Torch, but he can't be hurt physically. You can throw something at him, it'll go right through him because he's just made out of flames. And Crocodile is made out of sand later on, Smoker, which is made out of smoke, ironically enough.
He got a good name, didn't he?
He got a good name. I wonder,
like, what's your name, Smoker? What are you going to be when you grow up, a Marine? Oh, do you want a devil fruit? What is it? I don't know. Oh, it's smoke, yeah.
Aye. I don't know, Queenie. What would you like to have as a power? That would be a better question, because we did talk about that a few weeks ago. And we did talk about devil fruits in episode 1 about it. I'm just going to put hashtag podcast, I think it is under. Boom. It actually works. We did do episode 1 over on.
Whilst Queenie is looking at that, it's just come up another thing which actually brings up a good point with the rest of the crew.
Mm-hmm.
Like we know Luffy's powerful, we know Zoro is powerful, but this is the first time that we see some of the lower characters actually doing
a good fight.
Battles.
Yeah,
like
Nami.
Mm-hmm. Nami defeats Miss Doublefinger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she is like,
wow,
that's a big moment. That is.
Because
even Usopp and Chopper, who you would imagine to be stronger than Nami,
yes,
fought lower tier characters effectively.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and it is interesting. Like, she uses a tool that she's here. Hey, Link Cable, you alright, buddy? We were talking about Arabasta. We've just gone over each of the arcs. We've ranked Wapple right at the bottom because, let's be honest, he probably. Let's be honest. Foxy probably beats him. So mind control powers. That's an actually interesting one. Like having Karen jump off a cliff. I love the reference of Karen because anyone who's watched my streams knows that there's a lot of Karens that I play in horror games that do like to kill me or chase me down as the manager. But yeah, as you were talking about, there is things in here that we haven't mentioned. So I'm going to point out now, this is the first time we mention about the Vegapunk getting mentioned and about inanimate objects eating devil fruits.
Yeah.
In Usopp's fight, Lasso, is it? Is it Lasso?
Lasso, yeah, the Mr. Foe's dog.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, that is something that gets mentioned as we find out a bit about the poneglyphs, and we find out, obviously, that Robin can read them, foreshadowing her wanting the knowledge.
Massive point as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, like, this entire war, what I love about it is, like, the foreshadowing of how corrupt the government is to cover up Luffy's acts, give it to Smoker. I think it's Smoker, isn't it, that takes all the credit for this arc.
Yeah, Smoker. Yeah, he gets promoted. Yeah.
Yeah. So inanimate objects. So there is in the story, like the devil fruits can be eaten by inanimate objects. We don't know how it works, but it is mentioned in this. This is the first time it's mentioned and foreshadowed
He's
in.
not even a marine scientist, is he? He's a scientist, but the Marines are funding him.
Yeah, so like
to do work for them.
Exactly.
He's figured out how to make. Like, there's another guy in it whose sword is eating the elephant fruit.
Yeah.
So it's a sword that has the power to become an elephant.
Yeah.
And it's just like...
And he just throws his blade and the elephant just comes out and rampages and just punches someone.
Punches.
No worries, Witty. Appreciate you popping in, buddy. So can my bed eat a devil fruit? I mean, you could, but I'd be worried what kind of devil fruit your bed wants to be, Queenie. That is a little bit sus there.
If you got the human fruit.
Oh, human, but... I mean, that just means there's only one position. No, I'm not going to go into that. We mentioned...
Becomes the most comfortablest bed in the world.
There we go. That's what we need.
Right, I could do with that.
Exactly. Obviously, Baroque works gets, a lot of them get caught in Imperial Down. That happens in this arc. You get the kind of foreshadowing of Ace with the Vivi card and says, look, this can track me down any time, and that becomes a key moment in the story as well.
Yeah.
I'm sure Blackbeard gets mentioned more here, does he?
Ace mentions Blackbeard when he says to him, oh, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm hunting this pirate called Blackbeard.
And then we have the fight with Smoker first of all, which, Smoker's an amazing character. Luffy can't do anything against him because he's made of smoke. And he's rubber, so he can't actually damage him. We then meet Crocodile. Crocodile just completely on another level of power. And we find out about Shibukai, which are the 7 warlords of the sea, properly another member other than Hawkeye. That's in there, and you think, well, you've got this scale between power. I mean, look at him, he's in Yonko over here on my screen right now, Hawkeye. So, you got a guy in this level of Yonko fighting Luffy, not once, not twice, but 3 times. And I think the pinnacle moment of that fight is when he's like, even I can't stop my power when it gets to this strength. And he goes, please stop it. And then he just guts him and gets him.
That's a good way of putting it, Queenie. It's basically pirates with power.
Yeah, anime power. Yeah. Pretty much.
Not all of them have powers though, because some of them don't want a devil fruit, because once you eat it, you become unable to swim.
Yeah. Well, if you land in the water, you basically just sink to the bottom.
Which is ironic that pirates are afraid of water but get on a ship. There's always that irony there. I find that's funny.
I mean, that's got to have a certain level of balls to know if this, like, ships. If I go in this water where there's only water, I'm done. But I'll go in the middle of the sea. It's fine.
And like I said, the first thing that I said is this fight, like the first 2 fights are just one-sided more than anything else. And then when he comes back the 3rd time, it's just like Luffy's never going to give up until he dies.
The second fight is where he actually does some damage, though.
Yeah, he does some damage.
This time he gets absolutely whooped.
Yeah.
Like, it's just certain death, walking the plank, certain death. I don't think anyone's really walked the plank in the One Piece, if we know.
I've never seen... Yeah, they're not like... They're not pirates as you would think of pirates, are they? Really?
In some aspects, yes, but like not really as it's stereotypical.
But they're not. It's not like the walk the plank yar mateys.
Yeah. They're like kind of like
to the edge of a plank.
Say again, sorry, buddy.
I just thought like there's something in my brain's just telling me, isn't there a part where Nami walks to the end of a plank? Or Luffy?
I think on Buggies is it? Like there's a point where Nami and then she kind of swindles her way out of it by being all cutesy and be like, oh no, and like you're like, I'm never doing that. I'm never doing that noise again, please. Oh god, it's going on YouTube as well.
Like if you don't do that noise again, that's your new noise.
This is why we can't have nice things.
This is why Wapol takes over countries.
Oh man.
Hey, right, coming back.
Coming back to this here. So
Crocodile. No, it's poetic that he uses the move Storm to beat Crocodile, who's been taken away the rain.
No way a pirate anime doesn't have a walk the plank. I'm pretty sure there has been in, like, I'm not thinking of any, but when we do these arc by arcs, I bet you there'll be a point when we go, oh yeah, how could we forget that?
You know what, I'm going to say technically Kaido tried to walk a plank, but off a Sky Island.
Yeah, He did fall off a sky island and then landed face first, and then get up and go, "Ow, my head."
I don't even think he said, "Ow, my head." He went, "Oh, I've made a hole."
Made a hole. He's like, "Oh, you guys, you either join my crew or I'll kill you," pretty much. And he's like, so it is a good concept. And what I love about this arc specifically, it does show Luffy's determination to go that extra mile as well. Just, he'll put his life on the line to protect not only his crew but people he classes as friends. You know what I mean? The underground fight, you know, he literally puts himself on the verge of death, and it's
solid good.
And it shows how far he'll go, and that kind of aspect keeps pushing forward in Impel Down, outside Impel Down, Water 7, you know, going through all of those aspects where he's on the verge of death just to protect people. And then
also in while it just before it goes out my head, is Robin with the poneglyph. The way she lies to Crocodile.
Yeah.
And she tells him that it's a history of Arabasta when it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
it is actually what he thought it was.
Which is
so she technically knows the location of Poseidon.
Yeah.
And Pluton.
And I don't think she's like kind of brought that up to anyone, because I don't think Luffy's really interested. Let's be honest.
No.
He's not interested.
I honestly think it will get mentioned soon, but I won't go into it because it'll definitely spoiler territory.
Because we'll start talking. For anyone who's new at the stream, we don't talk about anything from Wano because that's still an ongoing arc. We'll talk anything in Whole Cake, and when it's finished, we'll probably do a review on that. And I've already got high expectations for anyone who's reading or watching. You know, it is on par with, like, I'm going to put it in Pirate King now myself personally. From what we've seen so far for anyone, so that's there
so far,
and that's not even finished.
While you said that, I'm gonna vote for my ranking for Arabasta now. While you've just mentioned you're gonna put Wano in Pirate King, I want to put Arabasta in Pirate King.
I agree. On that, what about Crocodile as a villain?
I would vote Yonko.
Yeah, I think it's respectable to put him on the same level as Shibukai. Because
you just fight me, Hawk, at the war.
Yeah.
Cheers for stopping by, Queenie.
Thank you very much, Queenie. Have a lovely day. Oh God.
Yeah, thank you for dropping in.
And thank you for the hydrate, which I now have.
I think he's just got an empty cup there.
No.
Oh, I see the water now. I see the water. He's not lying to us. But yeah, I agree. Putting him in Shibukai, but going back to that there. Put him over there. There we go. Like I said, just going back over Nami, Usopp knowing their weakness and still wanting to fight people who are stronger than them and pushing forward. You know, Luffy going through the victory, the final part where they're walking away from the island. You know, Luffy's showing how corrupt, like not physically, but like proving why Dragon is important and why he's the most important man in the world. Is purely for this arc, how much they're covering up. And now if we know about this and they're covering that up, that fact, like 100-year century, that what else are they covering up? Well, we know all the things that they do cover up with Luffy, but you imagine that.
There's so much. It just oozes corruption.
Exactly. And, you know, like you said, Ace's departure as well from this is like the final time that the crew sees Ace, like I said, and like before, like everything else that goes on, and that's an important part, that Ace has only been there a short period of time. And to be honest with you, if we're ranking people in One Piece, all characters, I would put Ace up here in Pirate King, not purely for the family relation, you know, and all that, but just purely for the fact that he is an amazing character and how he's written into the story and what impact he has on the entire story.
Deep.
Next list for you guys. Let's tier list all the characters in One Piece. There's 10,000 episodes.
Mate, God.
Go to talk about Nami and the fact that, like, in this arc, she gets Usopp to
build her a weapon.
To build her a weapon, which turns out to be the time attack.
Yeah.
And it's such an interesting weapon, because it sort of like introduces that whole that she's doing things that aren't natural. Like this.
Exactly.
But she does not have a devil fruit.
She does these things out of her logic and uses her strengths, which
pretty much controlling the weather. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And this
through science.
And this is
an interesting thing to bring a point, which leads on to other characters, which will get introduced later on. How you don't have to have the devil fruits to make you a powerful person.
Exactly. You use your strengths, and I mean, Usopp's a really great example of that. And in this Arabasta arc, it does prove how amazing he is, because look at him. He fights someone.
He's an example of it.
Yeah, exactly, Sanji. I mean, in this arc, doesn't he beat that dinosaur in this arc? Barawani, is it? Banawani?
Banana
Wani. Yeah. He just completely...
The big giant crocodiles. Oh, they all beat them, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, you know, it just proves. It proves. Yeah. And again, Zoro.
That's a great moment, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Where he just kicks it.
Trying to fight one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Vivi's trying to fight it. Sanji beats it, and then when they finally get out of the cage, they're like, oh, we've still got all them crocodiles to worry about, and they turn round, and Luffy and Zoro have wiped them all out already.
I know.
He's just like... I struggled with one, and they've beat them all in like 2 seconds.
I'm going to point out this is a lovely reference again, because this is the thing about Oda. He does these callbacks, and again, I didn't even realise that till you mentioned it. And we talked about Buggy last week when he was in Impel Down, and then he's like, he defeats one and turns around, and then Luffy's just doing that. He's like 10 corpses on the floor, and he's just like, oh, yeah, you deal with that one, thanks.
Yeah, I love that they've got a little banana on the head as well.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah. You know, and another, going back to like, you don't have to have a power to be strong. Zoro example, Hawkeye, as far as we're aware, but there is speculation that gets put out by Mr. Gears a lot, shall we call him, over here on the screen. You know, when we meet Sanji, just sat there going, I think he's got a devil fruit. And honestly, I don't think he does. But it'd be interesting if he had like kind of a sight fruit.
I mean, who knows? Yeah. It's
Garp too. There we go, Ferry. Mm-hmm. I appreciate that, Garp, as well. Ferry. How are you doing there, Ferry? It's amazing. You know, and it does call back a lot of things, and you know, there is so many amazing things in this arc. And to be honest with you, I always say to people, if you can get to Arlong's arc, you're in for a hell of a time, because you know at that point you're going to be invested.
Yeah.
We're not too bad at all there. Thank you very much for asking.
Fantastic.
But again, I'm gonna ask you right now, Arlong or Arabasta, which one do you think is a better arc?
Arabasta.
I agree. I agree if Arabasta is a better arc, but I think in terms of like where you start from, it just... this steady increase is coming on. You have like kind of a slow increase, then you have Arlong's Park, and it kind of calms down a little bit, and then you have just again Arabasta, it's Crocodile, and it has a massive impact.
One of them for me. I think it's so much happening. You see, because by the time you get to Arabasta, you're in the Grand Line now. You've got your crew, and they're actually showing like what each and every member of the crew can do in a fight.
Exactly. And what I love about it is like, not only Zoro but Luffy both fight devil fruits that they can't beat normally, and they find a way. Yeah. So it just proves
that.
It just proves that even having a devil fruit does not mean that you're guaranteed to win. I mean, Arlong's arc, let's be honest, that was an amazing arc. Smoker's, like you said, he couldn't defeat Smoker. He couldn't find a way around it, but obviously he's going to figure a way, and he has figured a way, shall figure a way, shall we say, for people who haven't seen that far. Yeah. He's going to have to figure a way to beat him. And I love how Sassy smile
even at the minute, he could beat Crocodile because he found his weakness.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I mean, what's the weakness for Smoke?
Fire.
Like, you know what it thinks of? Imagine, like, Smoke trying to get him, and you know that bit in Lord of the Rings where the ghost's coming, and Gimli's going like...
You just imagine that? I could just imagine Luffy doing balloon and just being like, spreading him.
Yeah.
Or even the fact inhaling him.
Yeah. Possibility. Right. I think we should have a look at maybe...
Yeah. The extractor fruit. But yeah, I think we're going to happily wrap it up here, guys.
One thing we do have to bring back just quickly is we have to bring up the ending to this saga. like as I say, our all time. Like this is such a high point in the series. As we mentioned previously, it's that whole yes, we have to leave you. You will not be forgotten, and you will always be one of our crew. Does feels.
Anyone here think at that point that Vivi, like through these arcs, is anyone at the point think Vivi's going to join them, isn't she? All the way through, thinking, yeah, she's going to join them, and then you get that heartbreak at the end. And you're like,
yes,
yeah. No, do you know? I was kind of jaded when I did it because I kind of thought like I wanted her to, but then like,
to be honest,
when it was like, nah, don't be a dickhead. She's a princess. Like,
yeah, she has to stay.
I mean, and I think a good substitute at that point was Robin coming in and be like, hey guys, well, you saved me, I'm part of your crew now. And Robin has a massive impact later on, and I absolutely love it.
Do you know what's something I want to see what happens as well? Is eventually Vivi's going to bump into them again, isn't she?
Yeah.
I think so.
How is she going to react to Robin? Because
she doesn't know. Actually, she does know because of the wanted posters.
She'll know she's part of the crew, yeah, but she'll want to know. She'll want answers like, "Why are you here? You were trying to overthrow my country."
Well, we know the reasons why, and I think Vivi's going to be a reasonable person to understand it. And the fact I think Vivi's going to have an inkling because of the lie. Like I said, the lie not telling Crocodile about the weapon. That to me would then give her a bit of trust, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, and the level of faith she has in Luffy.
Yeah.
I think just if he turns around and goes, look, she's decent, stop it.
Exactly.
She'll be like, oh yeah, fair enough.
Exactly, and I think that's going to have a big impact. And I think, obviously, throughout the series, Robin has proven a lot of trust, and I do love Robbie and Luffy's relation, which I'm not going to mention now, but there is a lot of relation between them in one or another parts where she understands Luffy on a better level than anyone else and how he thinks. And that to me is amazing.
Just putting into sort of Luffy's perspective, it's like, I know you guys had beef, but we ate the beef.
Exactly. We ate the beef. The beef is now gone. All we have is water. Now drink.
You've got beef, but I'm a vegetarian, so...
I sat there. Imagine Luffy's reaction to someone who says they're a vegetarian. He'd be like,
you don't eat meat?
You don't eat meat? Now, I think his reaction would be like, I'll have the meat then. Yeah.
All right.
I mean, you'll have a bigger jaw drop than...
Thing, right? I said to her one day, I said, oh, should we have a meat-free day? And, like, she looked at me like I was taken over by somebody else and I wasn't me.
I was going to say, you have a bigger jaw drop than Wapple. I think I'd actually rate Foxy above Wapple, to be fair, because he's more of an enjoyable arc.
No, that's
the thing. Yeah,
that's an argument for another day.
Yeah, we'll save.
Yeah, I'll make my point on that when we get to that. But yeah.
Right. Well,
I agree, by the way, Sam. But
I think we're going to wrap it up here, guys. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you everyone in chat who joined as well. Please go to Twitter, give us a follow up podcast piece, YouTube. Yep. And on YouTube as well, the video will be going up there. If you have any theories, anything that you see, or any other questions, please feel free to cut out us over on there, or leave us a comment.
Shameless plug for you to please come and follow and subscribe to us.
Absolutely.
No shame, do it, please.
And also, we'd like your comments on how you think we can improve as well.
Exactly. Give us some feedback. Let us know.
This is a learning curve for, especially for me. It'd be nice to know what we can do to sort of maybe improve the setup, or even things that you think that we should talk about as well.
And on a final note,
feedback is always good. And
on a final note, if you don't follow, don't subscribe, then Wapple's going to take over your kingdom. Simple as that.
This is how Wapple takes over kingdoms.
Right.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Right. Thank you very much, everyone.
Fantastic.
Have a lovely day,
Thank you very
evening.
much, guys.
And catch you in the next one.
Drive safe and have a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you for tuning in. Will he reach his next goal? Find out on the next stream of Goku 7